Hello and welcome. In today's video I will cover the latest news from Subsocial as they released a very detailed community update revealing many interesting news for the coming months. Subsocial has updated the roadmap for the second and third quarter. By now all of these phases in the first quarter have been completed. For me personally, Subsocial has been one of the most confusing projects on Kusama because there are two Subsocial blockchains. One is called Solochain and the other is Subsocial Parachain on Kusama. And as reminded here, Subsocial is a mainnet, it's not a canary network, thus Subsocial network will only be deployed on Kusama. And here is the update. Most of the things mentioned in this update will happen before Subtoken becomes transferable. Regarding tokens distribution, on Tuesday Subsocial launched the vesting schedule for the remaining 90% of tokens from this .sama token claim, which took place at the end of last year. Also, the initial 10% of tokens from the community sale, which took place at the beginning of March, have been distributed. Vesting schedules for tokens from token claim event and from the community sale will last for 6 months and the tokens will be vested block by block. So if you go to Polkadot.js portal, then Kusama Parachains and select Subsocial and check your address, you will see you have received the remaining 90 subtokens from this Subsocial token claim event. Each eligible address received 100 subtokens. Those initially distributed 10 subtokens were distributed to your address on other Subsocial blockchain called Solochain. You can check the balance of your sub address on Subsocial Solochain by going to Live Networks and then select Subsocial. Regarding the token rewards from Subsocial Crowdloan, those have also already been distributed to your address on Subsocial Parachain. Slightly over 20% of your sub tokens from Crowdloan is unlocked, but the token transfers have not yet been enabled, so don't get confused by this total transferable. Sub tokens will be transferable after the transfers are enabled. I tried to transfer sub between my wallets and the transfer didn't go through. Now the explanation why there are two Subsocial blockchains. There is a standalone Subsocial blockchain which is called Solochain, and then there is Subsocial Parachain on Kusama. All social networking activities will take place on Solochain, which is also where all content will be posted and stored. In the second quarter, Subsocial will enable free transactions, which means the users will lock their subtokens on Subsocial Parachain on Kusama, and that way they will get a certain number of free transactions per day on Subsocial Solochain for all social networking activities. That means all users who will either want to create the content on this Subsocial web app or to interact with this content will have to hold certain amount of sub tokens and log them on Subsocial Parachain. So the users of Subsocial web app won't have to spend their sub tokens as was the case until now. They will simply stake sub on Subsocial Parachain and get free transactions for each day. Subsocial team believes that this approach will lead to mass adoption of Subsocial app. Moving on, once free transactions are enabled, all subtokens from Subsocial Solochain will be moved to Subsocial Parachain on Kusama. As I said, at the moment all participants in Subsocial token claim still hold 10% of their sub on Subsocial Solochain. Once you hold all your sub tokens on Subsocial Parachain, you will be able to stake them to get those free transactions and also to transfer your sub to other Kusama parachains to use them there in DeFi products. Other big news is that this Subsocial web app is going to be renamed. Really, Subsocial has been making it very confusing for average users because both their blockchains as well as their web app are called Subsocial. That's why they will rename their social app to finally stop this confusion. To make it clear, Subsocial is a blockchain protocol for social networking on top of which other social apps can be built. So this native Subsocial web app, which you have probably already interacted with, is just one example of a social application, and in the future there will likely be many different apps built on a Subsocial platform. So the use case of Subsocial blockchain is to provide infrastructure for building these decentralized social apps. And as a showcase example, the team has developed the first social app, also called Subsocial. So to prevent this confusion, the app will be soon renamed and both blockchains will still be called Subsocial. If I understand this correctly, I think there is an analogy with BitCountry Pioneer, where BitCountry blockchain will be the platform and the infrastructure which will allow everyone to create their own metaverse, and the Chaos Land developed by BitCountry team will be the flagship metaverse of this BitCountry metaverse platform. Also, donations functionality will be added to Subsocial app in the second quarter. The donation feature will enable users to tip or donate to content creators on Subsocial for their content. It will be possible to donate in many different tokens. This donation functionality should mark the real beginning of social finance on Subsocial. What this means is that the creators of any content, whether it be articles, informative threads, pictures, infographics, or videos, will be able to monetize their content posted on Subsocial app. In my opinion, this is the main idea of Subsocial, to be censorship-resistant social platform where the value is fairly distributed amongst all users depending on how valuable content they create, and thus the value won't be accumulated in the hands of few people, as is the case for example on Facebook. Also, polls will be added to Subsocial app. This will allow all sub-token holders to create their own polls with custom parameters. And lastly, staking. Based on this roadmap, sub-staking should be enabled in the third quarter. Subsocial plans to do the similar thing to what Astar did, which is to incentivize developers which will build social dApps on Subsocial platform. And not only that subholders will be able to stake on dApps, they will be also able to stake on any space or account, such as favorite content creator, which should work as a thank you gesture to those content creators. So dApp developers will be incentivized to build dApps on Subsocial platform, and content creators will be also incentivized to create valuable and informative content on Subsocial app. So staking will add yet another utility to subtoken. The collators along with their nominators will be earning subtokens as staking rewards. Subsocial is an inflationary network. The initial inflation will be 7.5% annually, so that is 7.5 million new sub-tokens generated per year, out of which 25% will be distributed to collators and nominators, and another 25% to content creators. Reading about all of these new functionalities on Subsocial web app, I'm quite excited about the future development of Subsocial. I like how unique and bold the use case of Subsocial is, and also the fact that they are trying to fix some of the biggest problems of the current social networks. I've been using Subsocial application myself for a couple of weeks already, and initially I found a little bit strange that to follow someone or to like some article, a new transaction with a small transaction fee is required, but this is the nature of blockchain and the nature of a truly decentralized social network as is Subsocial. I'm glad that I've contributed my KSM to Subsocial, as I believe, along with Zeitgeist, Subsocial is one of the most promising parachains on Kusama in the long term. Remember, both Subsocial and Zeitgeist have their mainnet on Kusama, and both have the total supply of only 100 million tokens. Regarding the trading of subtoken, the transfers should be enabled sometime in the second quarter. I will gladly wait for trading even longer, as the market with altcoins still hasn't recovered much. Initially, I would be happy with $2 to $3 per sub, but the short-term price doesn't really matter that much for me, as I'm definitely planning to hold most of my sub for long-term. The distribution of sub rewards from crowdloan will be completed in December, when Subsocial's lease on Kusama ends. Let me know in the comments what you think about Subsocial. Are you bullish on sub token, and do you use Subsocial app regularly? Thank you very much for watching, and bye bye.